When we express someone's words in our own words, it is called indirect speech. When we express someone's words as they are, it is called direct speech. For example, they said, "We will be partying tonight" is direct speech. And they said that they would be partying that night is indirect speech. To change a sentence into indirect speech, the reporting verb is adjusted for tense and sense. Inverted commas are removed, and a connective word, such as that, is often used. The verb, persons, and helping verbs of the reported speech are also changed. Pronouns are changed using the SON rule. S stands for subject, O for object, and N for no change. First-person pronouns change to the subject of the reporting verb, and second-person pronouns change to the object. Third-person pronouns remain unchanged. This scene is empty, and therefore the voiceover will not be able to provide any additional information to the viewer. Rule number 1 states that the first-person pronoun of the reported speech changes according to the subject of the reporting verb. Rule number 2 states that the second-person pronoun of the reported speech changes according to the object of the reporting verb. Rule number 3 for pronoun changes is that the third-person pronoun of the reported speech is not changed in indirect speech. For example, she says he does not work hard becomes she says that he does not work hard. For verb and tense changes, Rule 1 states that if the reporting verb is in the present or future tense, there is no change in the tense of the reported speech. This is illustrated by the examples provided. Rule number 2 for verb changes says that when the reporting verb is in the past tense, the tense of the reported speech changes to the corresponding past tense. The example provided shows this change. Specific tense changes in indirect speech include simple present to simple past, present continuous to past continuous, present perfect to past perfect, and so on. Also, will/shall changes to would, can to could, and may to might. There are exceptional cases to Rule 2 regarding tense changes. Exception 1 applies when the reported speech contains a universal truth or habitual fact. Exception 2 applies when the reported speech contains a past historical fact. Exception 3 states that there is no tense change if the reported speech describes two actions happening at the same time. Exception 4 applies when the reported speech contains an imagined condition. This scene is empty, and therefore the voiceover will not be able to provide any additional information to the viewer. This scene is empty, and therefore the voiceover will not be able to provide any additional information to the viewer. In indirect speech, words that show nearness in time or place are replaced by words that show distance because the reported incident happened after or away from the time and place of reporting. Exceptions to these changes include changing come to go if a word showing nearness follows come. Also, this, here, and now remain unchanged if they point to something directly in front of the speaker. For assertive sentences, Rule 1 is to not change the reporting verb if there is no object. If there is an object, say changes to tell, says to tells, and said to told, or other context-appropriate words. Rule 2 is to use that as the conjunction. For interrogative sentences, Rule 1 states that the reporting verb said/said to changes to asked, inquired, or demanded, depending on the context of the question. Rule 2 for interrogative sentences is that if the question uses helping verbs, the quotes are replaced by if or whether. If the question uses WH words or how, no conjunction is used to replace the quotes. Rule 3 for interrogative sentences is that the question form is removed and a full stop is used. Helping verbs should be placed after the subject. Do/does is removed for positive feelings but changed to did for negative feelings. This marks the end of the video about narrations and changing between direct and indirect speech.